I would like to share with you what I believe is the single biggest opportunity in marketing in 2025. I will show you how your social media feeds could look like this. Actually, your notifications, right? Tons of engagement and new followers every single day. Pretty much on autopilot, right? And how your videos, your stats can look like the one next to it, right? This is on a new account. Almost 0 followers, about 4 million views. It's way beyond that now, actually. And we're doing lots of those every single day. Really, almost on autopilot, without running any ads. So this is new for you guys, right? This is all organic, and yes, done with a little bit of AI. So what I really want to talk about today, though, is not just how you make stuff go viral. So today, we're going to talk about cracking the viral code, and we're going to do it with AI. So what we're going to talk about today are 3 things, right? First of all, we're going to talk about how you actually make your social media posts go viral, pretty much on any platform you choose. Secondly, we're going to talk about how you can do that on scale, fully automated, right? Churning out hundreds, maybe, if you're as crazy as us, thousands of viral posts each and every month. And thirdly, of course you're interested in that, we're going to talk about how you make money with that, right? Because what do I care if I'm famous or not? What I care about is what's the end result. And for many of you, that might be money. We're going to go from no attention, no business from organic, to something like this that we do every day now. The first problem we're going to talk about is that, believe it or not, if you're not seeing millions of views in your content, there's one single reason for that. And that's it. Your content just sucks, right? I'm not the first person saying that, but it's true, and it was hard for me to digest that, because it's not about you as a person, and it's not about what your family, your loved ones, your friends say. Your content might actually be amazing, but as long as you don't convince the algorithm that is amazing, nothing will happen about it. Nobody, or almost nobody, will see it, right? So in the eyes of the algorithm, in kind of the machine that you have to feed, that monster, right, that is hungry for amazing content, as long as you don't know what to feed that monster, you will not get the eyeballs that you believe you deserve. So I want to share with you what we call the viral code. There's 2 things that I want to give to you so you can make that happen. First of all, we're going to talk about the algorithm, right? So that monster, that reviewer that decides whether you suck or not, well, your content. And secondly, we're going to speak about the actual content. So let's get started. First thing is a thing that some people call TikTokification, right? It's very simple. Who here has been on social media for longer than 3 years? Majority. Okay, good. So what you grew up with, most likely, is the age of the social graph, right? So I grew up with Facebook, really, and social graph was it. In essence, it means that you build up followers, and then your content is shown to those followers. If those followers engage, right, deliver the right KPIs for the algorithm, your content will be shown to more people. Meaning, if you play that game well, you steadily grow up followers up to a certain point, right? This is where guys like Gary Vee grew up, right? So they have amassed a lot of followers, and now almost anything they post, right, it gets more initial traction. And that was great for some time, and I'm sure a lot of you paid actually to win at that game, which worked quite well in the past. Things have changed with the dominance of TikTok. No matter if you are on TikTok or not, you want to be on TikTok. But all the algorithms have changed over the last year, and they continue to change to become more and more like TikTok in one central regard, which is that your follower count does not matter as much anymore. On TikTok, it doesn't matter like almost anything at this point, right? Which is amazing for you. It's the biggest opportunity that you have, because you can start an account at 0 and go viral. Because the only thing the algorithm is interested in is serving your content to a batch of audience that the algorithm believes will be interested in your content. And most of those people will not be your followers. It's going to be other people. And the algorithm is getting very good at understanding what you're actually posting and who might be interested. Now, here's the thing. If the algorithm shows your stuff to people who should be interested, but they're not delivering on the KPIs that the algorithm is looking for, you will not get more views. Okay? So, it all depends on your content. That's all there is. Here is how distribution works in case you're not aware. So, in the age of TikTokification, your content will first be shown to a very small size of the audience, right? Depending on a network, it's more of your followers, more of random people, right? But it tends to be more and more people who do not follow you yet, right? So what happens is that first, these are our numbers more or less. They might be different for you. What we see across a lot of accounts organically is usually we get like 200-300 posts, right? On new accounts, sometimes we get 0 views, right? And like 200, 300. Then if the content resonates on some pieces, on some videos, we'll see like 800 something videos, and then it just grows. The important thing here is that you can completely break out of these small audiences. So if you make it for us beyond like 10, 15,000 views, it usually continues to grow continuously until you reach something like around 200, 250,000 views, right? Specifically on TikTok. And then if it goes beyond that, it just keeps growing. On Instagram, the next threshold that we're seeing for our accounts is about 4 million. If you cross 4 million, it keeps growing, right? Kind of nuts. So this is absolutely amazing, right? And this happens on new accounts. 0 followers. Well, after the first viral video, obviously it's not at 0 followers, but okay. So these are the KPIs you want to look for, okay? So most importantly, it's watch time, and watch time, right? That's all that matters. Why is that? Why do you think watch time is so critical for all the algorithm right now? Think about it. The social media platforms make money from you guys, people who spend on ads. If they have more great content, people, the general audience, spends more time on the platform. So there's more inventory to place ads. So the better organic social works, right, the more ads can be placed, right? So it's the one thing that a platform is looking for, having people glued to the screen. I'm not raising an ethical question here, and whether that's good or not and great for the kids and society. This is how the algorithm works. So if you want to get seen, it's all about watch time. So let's speak about the actual content. What are the types, criteria, structure, a couple lies, and then the mega trend, the big opportunity I was promising you at the beginning. So first of all, the types. So very quickly, my feeds are like full of random gurus teaching you how to do social media. And I believed most of that nonsense. Most of it, for us, is not true. So what most people teach about social media, this is also true if you ask like ChatGPT or other things, right? They tell you that you have to post a lot of different types of videos. So videos, right, but also posts, carousel stories, everything that's available. You want to do multiple content pillars, right? So you have one about this aspect, one about this, right? And then, of course, you have several concepts, long videos, short videos, different editing, blah, blah, blah. In the end, it's complete mayhem, right? Who can do this, right? Nobody. You need like a 10 people full-time team to do that, and they will be confused. We do things very differently here. So we at Reels focus on scalability. So we have exactly one type of video per account, right? With one type of video concept. So obviously we test a lot of different concepts, but once we see one working, same as you do with ads, right? We narrow in on this specific concept and we produce a lot of videos. So we're faster than anybody else, we have more volume than anybody I know on organic social, and we definitely have more data because we're testing the same framework over and over and over again. Like with ads, right? For you guys, this shouldn't come as a surprise. Okay. Criteria. So videos, most of all, have to be super relatable. That's the single most important thing here, right? We do most of our videos with AI. I'll show you in a second. And it's a bit harder to make the personal connection here, but it's really all about the hook, right? You just have to understand their pain points and their dreams and everything. You're marketers. You know what I'm talking about. More importantly than with ads, stuff has to be super shareable, right? So there has to be like an intrinsic motivation for people to share it with their best buddies. Right? So that's a little bit easier with like funny stuff sometimes. Obviously for business, you see typically better results with valuable stuff, so you gotta work on that a little bit, right? It has to be watchable, so you wanna increase the tension towards the end of the video, and you've seen a lot of tricks for make that happening, right? Like, I don't know, like a listicle, and the last tip is the best, and so forth. These are kind of old school. We don't see those working too well anymore. Best thing for us right now is actually storytelling. If I tell you a great story, like I'm promising you the single biggest opportunity in marketing this year, there's a high likelihood for you to stick around, even if the rest is kind of boring, right? Because you're waiting for this. So that's what you want to do in your social media. And then it has to be actionable, right? You want to have some call to action. Okay, so structure, I guess this one is pretty clear to most of you. The important thing that I want to raise here is that you really want to focus on the hook. So in case you're not doing that yet, 80% of your work should be on the hook, right? Ideally, you have a dozen different hooks per piece of content, right? And then you see what works best. I'll show you another way how to shortcut this in part 2 of this. But last one I want to share with you is a couple common lies that I see way too often. It really makes me go crazy at this point. So one is like most entrepreneurs, they like to talk about themselves. I know there's a lot of like big entrepreneurs out there who do that and it works for them. They were raised and they grew, right, in a previous era. If you do social media now and you don't have a following yet, please stop talking about yourself. Nobody cares about you or me. They only care about themselves. A little bit of philosophy here. Okay, let's talk about that later. Hashtags, just don't use them, period. Trends, don't use them. I'm serious. Why? Trends can absolutely help you go viral, right? No question about that. The problem is you'll be chasing trends all day, every day, and you don't get actual work done and will not be able to scale. We've tried it, right? We sometimes use like viral music. That's kind of easy, but other than that, we don't change all formats, right? Just because somebody else has luck with that. Editing, honestly, not really important. I have a big editing team. We do make things look nice, but for performance, it doesn't really matter. Raw stuff typically performs better.